More and more Asiatics flocked to the Star and Crescent standard. They flaunted their fezzes on the street and treated the European with undisguised contempt. The Prophet announced that each devout Moorish American must carry a card bearing his credentials and his appellation, signed by the Prophet with his seal. Often enough, nomens were transformed into ones with additions of El or Bey, those being titles signifying Moorish dignity. The membership card and button, when displayed to Europeans, would convince them that the bearer was enlightened and a member of the organization to be feared and respected. But they know they're not fearing Moors right now because they know Moors are being passive. To the Prophet, this theory of newfound independence had been a more or less purely ethical and theoretical point, and he had not reckoned on its practical effect among his zealous followers. And that's why he said, learn to love instead of hate, because they was popping off. Alarming reports of street brawls, threats, insults, and minor violence centering around Moorish Americans were brought to his notice. Members were accosting the Europeans on the streets, showing their membership cards and buttons and proclaiming in the name of their prophet, Noble Drew Ali, that they had been freed of European domination. Recalling the downfall of the militant Abyssinians and contemplating the current difficulties of the Garvey movement, Drew Ali issued this order, and that's when he started speaking of don't flash your cards. However, just like NOI, they gave out their card, and if you was stopped by a mercenary, you would show them the card, and they had to prove that you was found other than righteous. So you're supposed to utilize the card if you're approached by a mercenary, and you're supposed to identify yourself, but you're not supposed to be getting in their face over nothing, just like with the Emiliel letter that Broswell read. It stated that you're supposed to have your army. You know what I'm saying? But as soon as a militia comes up and the Europeans attack, what do? Y'all start ganging up on the Moors, not the European. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, other than the few, the faithful, Moors' loyalty is as thin as the newspaper that they don't use to bury themselves out of avalanches of lies. And that's a fact. He stated, when the Prophet was here, he said if you would do as I say, you would have a navy and an army to whoop this. But as Muslims, we don't want to do that. But if forced, we must see results. But Moors are passive right now, man. They've always been passive, though. They watched the Prophet get chased around the temple. And even in these files right here, it says Ali died in a big skirmish outside the temple doors. So it might have been there. The Moors might have watched him get chased around the temple and murdered, and they ain't do shit, just like they ain't doing now. Like when I put up the video I'm getting ready to play. I got all these messages from NOI, whether it be death threats or just straight, talking bad towards me, but I bet none of you Moors did nothing.
Brother Noble Drew Ali, as Master Farad said, he was a smeller of Islam. Right? He didn't have enough knowledge in Islam to keep going with it like it should be because of the name that he named his organization.